There's an interesting Gemara that discusses the chiyuv of saying Hallel on Purim. And the Gemara starts off with a very interesting Kal V'chomer, that we know that we say Hallel on Pesach. And the Gemara says over here that how do we know that we say Hallel on Purim? We'll get to the fact that we don't actually say Hallel on Purim, but the Gemara asks, how do we know that we're going to say Hallel on Purim? And the Gemara makes a Kal V'chomer. And the Kal V'chomer goes like this. Umame abdus lecherus, amrinon shira. If on Pesach, when we went from being slaves to being freed, we say shira, we say Hallel. So mimisa lechayim lo kol shekain. When we're going to be killed, when when Haman and all of the people in Shushan and all over the world were going to try and kill the Jewish people, and we ended up living, and we got out of the Misa, we got out of the death decree that was upon us. So lo kol shekain that we're going to say Hallel, of course we're going to say Hallel. And the Gemara ends up saying, so why don't we say Hallel? So the Gemara says, Kriyasa zu halila. That the Kriya of the Megillah, that is the Hilula, that's the Hallel that we're going to be saying. It's very, very strange. Number one, I would think that the Kal V'chomer would be the exact opposite. That what is Hallel? Hallel is like an incredible recognition of the Ribbono Shel Olam's Nisim in the world. Hallel is a recognition of Hashem's miracles and His miraculous nature with the Jewish people. So what day is the day that we see all of those miraculous actions that the Ribbono Shel Olam does for the Jewish people? Pesach. We have all the makkos, we have the splitting of the sea, we have crazy, incredible miracles that happen on Pesach. Purim is like, you have to fetch a little bit to find the Ribbono Shel Olam in the story of Purim. You have to zoom out, you have to look at the whole Megillah and this and that and hear a nice drasha. But when you just look at the story, it's very not miraculous. It's very not Hallel-like. So a Kal V'chomer works like this. If on Pesach we say Hallel, then for sure on Purim we should say Hallel. It should be the exact opposite. If on Purim we say Hallel, then for sure on Pesach we say Hallel. Why is it that Purim in this scenario is a greater miracle, is more deserving of Hallel than a Pesach would be? Very strange. And number two, Hallel is this incredible, recognition of the miracles. We mention Hashem's name all the time. Hayam Ra'av Ayanos, the incredible, miraculous nature of Hallel. And how could we be Yotzei Hallel with reading the Megillah where Hashem's name doesn't even appear? It's very, very strange. So Rav Hutner writes in his Ma'amarim on Purim, he brings down the halacha that v'zichram lo yasuf mizaram, that when it comes to Purim, that all the holidays and all the Megillas are going to be nisbatel. All of the, we're not going to have Pesach, we're not going to have Sukkot, we're not going to have Shavuos, and Purim is the one that's going to stay. Purim is the Megillah that we're going to have even when Mashiach comes. So he asks a very interesting question. Why would that be? If I were to be the one making the rules, which I'm not, but if I were to be the one making the rules, I would say, let's keep the da'araisas, right? Let's keep the big, holidays, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos, and we'll do away with Chanukah, we'll do away with Purim, we'll do away with the D'Rabbanan holidays and keep the big ones. Why is it that after Mashiach, we're keeping Purim? It's very strange. So he gives a mashal, but the general point of his mashal is that when it comes to Purim, we have to kvetch. When it comes to Purim, you have to learn to see the Ribbono Shel Olam in the darkness. Whereas on the big three, on the shalosh regalim, when you have Pesach, when you have Sukkot, when you have Shavuos, Hashem was so clear in our life. It was such an incredible light. It was such an incredible ha'ara of the Ribbono Shel Olam's presence in this world and the miraculous nature of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs this world. Whereas on Purim, it was so dark. It was so misleading, the story, that you could almost miss the Ribbono Shel Olam. You have to really look and you have to train yourself to try and find the Ribbono Shel Olam within this darkness, to hear him when it's completely noisy out. And you have to find the Ribbono Shel Olam within those moments. So when Mashiach comes, says Rav Hutner, and there's an incredible light in the world, there's an incredible ha'ara of light. It's so clear that the Ribbono Shel Olam is going to be here. It's going to be an incredible amount of light in the world. So says Rav Hutner, Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos are going to be irrelevant. They're going to be days that the whole point of them, which was to show us Hashem was running the world, they're not going to be needed. Because Mashiach's going to be here. It's going to be so clear. Everything's going to be so clear. We don't need these incredible flashes of light in the world. But, says the footnote, the fact that we were able to find the Ribono Shalom in the darkness, the fact that we were able to hear Hashem throughout all the noise, see Him throughout all the choshech, that is something that even when Mashiach comes, we're still going to be left with. We're still going to be able to hold on to the fact that we learned how to find the Ribono Shalom within all the muddiness, within all the darkness of the world, within all of the noise and choshech. We were able to find Hashem, so we stay with that. We keep that even when Mashiach comes. So it turns out that it's a greater talent. It's a greater milah to be able to find the Ribono Shalom within the hidden than to witness a miracle like Kriyas Yamsuf. So we know that there are two different types of miracles. There's Nisim Nigloim, there's incredible revealed miracles. Like we spoke about, there's Pesach, there's Sukkot, Shavuos, all these wonderful revealed miracles, revealed moments that Hashem is running the world. And then there's something we call Nisim Nistarim, hidden miracles. Those moments that within nature we're able to see Hashem. So the Chalban points out in his Sefer on Purim that there's two distinct characteristics of a Neis Nigleh. Number one, it's Hashem running the show, and it has nothing to do with the Jewish people. We're just sitting on the side, eating our popcorn and watching the amazing show. And number two, it's always above nature. It's a miraculous thing. That's why it's a Neis Nigleh. It's something that defies the natural process, the natural order of the world. So the sea splits, and we're just like sitting there watching this amazing, miraculous event. So the two things, one, it's above nature and it's above Am Yisrael. But in Neis Nistar, says the Chalban, is the exact opposite. That not only does it happen within nature, but it happens through the Jewish people. It's not above us. We're not on the sidelines watching Hashem run the world. It's happening through us. We become a shutaf with the Ribono Shalom in running His world. We become a partner with Hashem in how He wants to be manhig the entire Bria. And says the Chalban, that's the whole purpose of the world. Hashem did not create this world for us to sit on the sidelines and watch Him play. Hashem created the world for us to run it, for us to be a part of it, for us to be poel, the Yeshuos that happen. It's a greater milah to be part of a Neis Nistar, to be a shutuf with Hashem, says the Chalban, than to witness a Neis Nigleh. If we had to choose to play a part in our hishtadlus in the world and have Hashem be manig His world through us, versus being able to see Kriyas Yamsuf, being able to see the Eser Makos, says the Chalban, we should choose the Neis Nistar. It might make greater cinematic, it might win an Academy Award for, the wonderful scenes of Kriyas Yamsuf and the Makos and all. It's much more exciting on the screen. But when it comes to what's the whole Tachlis Habriya, the Tachlis Habriya is that we become partners in running this world with Hashem. Not that we run the world, but we become partners with Hashem in running the world. So we always say, what's greater, a Neis Nigleh or a Neis Nistar? For sure a Neis Nigleh. It's the most miraculous thing of all. But says the Chalban, we're wrong. The Neis Nistar is so much greater. The being able to see Hashem and to feel Hashem in the running of the world, the day-to-day running of the world, is a much higher level. To be God conscious and have Hashem glasses, be able to see the world through Hashem running it, through us being poel, the Yeshuas with Hashem, is a much higher level than seeing the greater miracles. So we return to the Gemara, and I think it answers our questions. Because we said a Kal V'chomer. When it comes to the Kal V'chomer, there's Hallel, there's this incredible miracles that Hashem did, and we said, how could it be that, if we say Hallel on Pesach, then for sure we say Hallel on Purim. Pesach is so much greater. They were so much more miraculous. But now we realize, no. The much greater miracle is Purim. The much greater miracle is Hashem running the world kedarko. Hashem running the world through nature, but not just through nature, through us. Through the Jewish people, bringing about the Yeshuas through Am Yisrael, us becoming shutfim with the Ribono Shalom, that's a much greater level. So the Kal V'chomer works. If we say it by Pesach, where there was Kriyas Yamsuf and where there were Makos, then for sure we're able to say it on Purim, when we were able to see the Ribbono Shalom in the day-to-day workings of our world, when we were able to become shutfim with the Ribbono Shalom in this world. It's a much greater level. And how are we Yotzei Hallel? Hallel, where Hashem's name comes up over and over and over again. Hayom Ra'av Hayonus, the incredible miracles of Pesach. How are we Yotzei that with the Megillah? Because that's exactly the Vort. We read the Megillah where there's no mention of Hashem. We read the Megillah where a normal person, a normal academic would read it and say, it was a bunch of political maneuvers and, the king and the queen and this and that, and it has nothing to do with the Ribbono Shalom. And we read it and we say, no. We're making a bracha. Asher Kiddishana b'mitzvah v'tzivanu. We make a bracha. We say Shoshanas Yaakov. We mention how the Ribbono Shalom is the one who was Poel the Yeshuos. How the Ribbono Shalom was the one who was pulling all the strings, who was running the whole show. And we read the Megillah. That's the greatest form of Hallel. Because the other Hallel, we're just sitting back and we're talking about what we saw. We're talking about what the Ribbono Shalom did. But when it comes to the Megillah, when it comes to telling the story of Esther and Mordechai, who they were Poel the Yeshua, they were the ones who brought about the salvation, b'shutvas, in a partnership with Hashem. Reading the Megillah is the Hallel of Purim. It's saying we see you, Hashem, in running the world. We have our Hashem glasses on. We're God conscious in the world to be able to see that Hashem is not just running the world when the sea splits, but Hashem's running the world on a day-to-day basis. Hashem's running the world not just within nature, but within the Jewish people. And that's the Hallel of Purim. The whole point of Purim is very different than Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos. It's not to, have that wonderful light, to be able to see so clearly Hashem, changing nature. It's to be able to see the Ribbono Shalom in every moment of our lives. As Hashem, we should have a Gevaldige Purim and be able to be shutfim with the Ribbono Shalom and running His world and be able to see Him wherever we go.